What do you do when you see an injustice happening in your family, your school, or your community? That's the question that we're going to be answering today. Until then, my name is Jake. I'm the student pastor. And we're going to first watch Yasmin and Nick eat awesome McDonald's meals. Maybe they were hungry in general, but they're going to test them out to see which one is the best. And then we're going to go into the actual sermon. And we're finally going to end with an amazing new song called Highs and Lows. I hope you enjoy.
What up, EastLake students? My name is Yasmin.
And my name is Nick.
And we're super excited to be with you here today because we are going to be taste testing some of the most trendiest McDonald's meals. We're going to be trying the Travis Scott meal and the J Balvin meal, and we're going to see which one is better. So, Nick, you want to tell us what is in the Travis Scott meal?
Yeah, I would love to explain what's going on here. We got the Travis Scott, you know what I'm saying, meal. I don't have the grill on today, otherwise I'd be like rapping real hard. But Travis Scott, man, you eat this? Bro, you're performing. I will whoop you in a basketball game. Anyways, I had to talk trash. Anyways, the Travis Scott meal. Okay, what we got here is we got a medium fry, we got a large Sprite, and we also have right here, what is this, Yasmin? We got a quarter pounder with lettuce, pickles, onion, ketchup, cheese, and of course, you gotta have your bacon, all right? Looks pretty good. I mean, should
we have to have the barbecue sauce.
In order to make it a Travis Scott official meal, you have to dip the French fries into your tangy barbecue sauce.
All right.
I mean, it doesn't sound too bad.
I love McDonald's fries, so I will have no issue, but I haven't had a McDonald's burger since I think maybe the 5th grade, so I'm a little nervous.
Yeah, are we gonna go for it? Like, let's
we'll try it.
Okay. What do you think? Yes. Love at first sight. Or love at first taste. I don't know.
I took a really big bite.
I did too. It's not too bad. Reminds me of being a child. Okay. Here, she's still working on it right now. She might have to leave. She might have to, like, I don't know, throw up. But, hey, check this out. We got French fries. We got to dip it into this sauce. Yasmin, you just got to go for it. Come on now.
I will say the bacon is the best part of this burger. I love me some bacon, so... All right.
Ooh, the tangy barbecue sauce.
It's my favorite sauce of all time.
Oh, my goodness. It's not too bad.
Okay.
Wow.
So, rate this out of 10.
Ooh,
Sprite.
okay, out of 10. Well, wait, we gotta wash it down with Sprite. Okay.
I think McDonald's Sprite tastes different. It just
It
like
does.
has that
What?
bam effect.
Instant childhood. For overall taste, childhood memories, I'll be generous. I'll give it a 7.
Yeah, I would say a 7 too. I'm not a really big fan of like onions that aren't like caramelized. Because I'm bougie. So
Dang.
I would say it was pretty good though. But I'm interested to see. I've never had a Big Mac in my entire life. In my entire life.
Oh.
So that is what the J Balvin one has. What makes it different from the Travis Scott one is you get the regular medium-sized fries. You have a Big Mac and a McFlurry. And I love McFlurries. Like I am obsessed. The M&M one's my favorite, but this one is Oreo McFlurry.
Come on now.
So.
All right.
I'm ready to try this Big Mac.
So we gotta try the Big Mac. This is a part of the Balvin. Is that how you said it?
Yeah, so a Big Mac, is it just because it's like double
the bread?
Double the bread.
I don't know.
The
I
meat?
haven't had a Big Mac. I'm like, this is the first time. Yeah, I mean, let's go.
Yeah.
You ready?
Let's go. Oh God, I'm not hungry. We'll see. Okay.
All right. Yep. Yasmin, you're probably gonna get one on the way home. I know it. This ain't enough right here. Wow.
I will say In-N-Out is better than that.
Well, of course, In-N-Out's better than any fast food chain. Come on.
Out of the two, which one was your favorite?
Ooh, okay. Out of the two, I'm sorry, but I'm gonna have to go with the Travis Scott. Even though I was roasting on him earlier, Travis Scott, it was pretty good. I'm gonna need to wash it down with some of this. So this is a part of the Balvin. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, I will say. The Travis Scott one was my favorite only because the Big Mac has like 2 breads or 3 breads, so it wasn't necessarily my favorite. But I think we're done for today, and I think we've decided the Travis Scott one is the best meal. So if you're gonna go to McDonald's, get the Travis Scott burger, and I think you would actually like it because the bacon is fantastic.
Bacon.
But thank you guys so much for joining Nick and I this week, and we hope you go to McDonald's and have some awesome food.
See you later. let me ask you a question. Have you ever seen something and just thought, this isn't right? Or maybe you thought, this is so not fair.
Many times we experience injustices that will never hit the news. For example, maybe all of your friends are hanging out at the park on a Friday night and you can't hang out because your parents won't let you because of COVID restrictions, which I mean is pretty understandable. Or maybe you haven't been able to go to basketball practice, soccer practice, or even your dance class. Or maybe you see people being really mean, like on Twitter or even in person. We all experience things in our lives that feel just so unfair. But other times, maybe we feel like maybe it was right.
I think it's usually obvious when we feel like all is right in the world. Like, what is that called? That's called justice, right? When things are just all good, when everyone gets the same amount of homework, when you feel like there's nothing to be frustrated about, and you usually don't think about it because there's nothing to think about. Everything is great. But the antonym of justice is injustice, and that does something weird to our bodies, let's be honest. For some of us, we might react with anger. For some of us, we might be crying, or we wake up in the middle of the night, or we can't go to sleep at night because we're frustrated that something happened in our lives. I mean, that's the reaction of what injustice does to us.
I know these may sound like pretty big ideas, and you're probably wondering, why should I care about injustice happening on in the world if I am just a student? Isn't that something that adults deal with? Well, let me tell you, injustice is happening all around you.
I just remember this story when I was in middle school. My family and I, we loved to go on road trips. We had a huge 15-passenger van because my family had 5 boys in it, plus my 2 parents, plus 2 dogs. So we needed a big vehicle. And we were traveling across the Midwest in the middle of nowhere, cornfields all over the place, just driving down this freeway. And, we're out in the middle of nowhere, and we passed this interstate patrol highway, something like that. And we passed him, and then we noticed about 5 minutes later that he had caught up to us, and he was tailing us, trying to see where we were going. And then his lights turned on, and all of us boys were like, ooh, looking at each other. And we got pulled over, and so we're all just kind of sitting there waiting, and the officer walked up very slowly to the window and looked at my dad, who's an African-American male, and then looked at my mom, who's a white lady, and he looked at my mom and he said, "Ma'am, are you okay?" In front of all of us boys, we were like, wait a second, what? And my mom looked back at us, kind of like, boys, get down, please. And she just went off. But it was kind of one of those moments where we were like, wait, did that really just happen?
The question is, do you like injustice? The answer is, of course, no. Nobody likes feeling injustice. I mean, let's give some examples. No one likes feeling like their brother got to go play video games as you were able to just do a couple more chores because your parents randomly added that to your list. Or on Friday when you get extra homework by your professor or your teacher and your other peers didn't get that. Or let's go even deeper. Maybe you just grew up with a divorced family. You're splitting time between 2 homes, but your friends, they have their parents are still together. Or maybe you grew up without a dad or a mom, and it's been hard for you. It's been hard to grow up in a single parent home. For all of us, there are things that are just plain wrong. Even for you, it could be the fact that you just are starting to go to church, but your family doesn't really believe in Jesus, so it's fighting tooth and nail to go to physical church, to watch YouTube videos, to try to be a Christian in a household that doesn't really believe in Christianity. These are all things that are hard to face. These are injustices.
Here's the truth. Injustice is happening in our world all the time. And one quick scan of the news, you can see that we are dealing with hunger, poverty, war, natural disasters, and bullying. And when we really think about it, it can feel super overwhelming. And honestly, even if you see it in your school, in your community, and even the world, it's hard to know what to do about them. You know they're wrong, and you know they seem unfair. So what can we really do to help? But sometimes even asking that question can feel kind of uncomfortable.
Maybe you hesitate to help because you feel powerless. You're probably thinking to yourself, man, I'm only a student. What could I possibly do to help this injustice? I mean, come on, I'm a student. How am I going to change things happening and the injustices happening on the other side of the world? And maybe that's the story you tell yourself. And maybe that's what you're believing about you making an impact when it comes to injustice. Sometimes we avoid speaking out against injustice because it's just risky. We have no idea what the outcome is going to be about what everyone around us is thinking. It can also be embarrassing. You're the one standing up against the grain, the momentum of where everyone is maybe pushing or certain people are pushing against. You're standing up against that. You're being a voice to the voiceless in that moment. I mean, it could be embarrassing. What if you fail? What if what you're standing up for doesn't catch wind and you become now the bad person in the crowd? Or maybe you're standing up against someone who's getting bullied, all right? Whether it's cyberbullying online or actually physically being bullied, you're standing up and you're just afraid that that bully is going to turn towards you and maybe hurt you. I mean, there's always a risk when it comes to standing up for something that's being done that's wrong.
In the book of the Bible called Mark, one of the 4 gospels that tells the story of Jesus' life on this earth, we are going to read a passage about what it means to do when we see injustice happening in the world. So I'm going to have Nick read that for us.
As the story tells, Jesus was walking down the road with a large crowd around him, okay? Lots of people, something about to happen. There's a crowd around him. And off to the side of the road was a man named Bartimaeus, who was blind. This guy could not see. And because he couldn't see, you can imagine how difficult it was for him to have money just to feed himself. The guy couldn't work. So he needed help, and no one else was helping him. And Jesus was walking by. I think it's safe to say that Bartimaeus' life was a little unfair.
When Bartimaeus heard about Jesus, all he could do is start yelling for Jesus. The only issue was that Jesus was pretty famous at this time. When he walked through streets, hundreds, if not thousands of people would be yelling his name because they heard he was a miracle worker. He was a movement maker. And they wanted that power to help them in their own lives. What's so interesting about this story is that Jesus should not have heard Bartimaeus over the thousands of voices, but he did. Let me read you the story of Bartimaeus. It says this: When Bartimaeus heard that it was Jesus of Nazareth, he began to shout, "Jesus, Son of David, have mercy on me." And many rebuked him and told him to be quiet. But he shouted all the louder, "Son of David, have mercy on me." And Jesus stopped and said, "Call him." So they called to the blind man, "Cheer up, on your feet, he's calling you." Throwing his cloak aside, he jumped to his feet and came to Jesus. And Jesus said, "What do you want me to do for you?" The blind man said, "Rabbi, I want to see." "Go," said Jesus, "your faith has healed you." Immediately he received his sight and followed Jesus along on the road.
Think about this for a second. Jesus was surrounded by a massive crowd, according to scripture. And what did he do? He stopped to help just the one. You see, Jesus saw people's needs all the time, but he didn't just stop when he saw someone's need. Jesus acted. And maybe that's what you and I need to hear today, is that it's one thing to see something, but it's a whole nother thing to act. And that's what made Jesus and his ministry so amazing, is that he didn't just see things, he also acted.
How does this apply to our lives and the injustices happening in the world? Well, one of the most common reasons we don't help is because it's not directly impacting us, or maybe we just simply don't know what to do. And sometimes it's just easier to just avoid it and not really think about it and kind of just brush it off. But that's not what Jesus modeled. Jesus saw a need, he saw injustice, and he acted. And he did whatever he could do to help. So I want to challenge you to be more like Jesus. And when you see injustice happening, do something about it. It just takes one simple step.
While God might not use us to physically heal someone in a miracle format, although that would be amazing, and I would urge you to even pray for that, God might ask you to stand up to an injustice in your life. I hope that when you see an injustice, you can do what you can to help, which is actually our bottom line of this whole entire message. I will also put a caveat there as well. There's so many injustices in our world. Bullying, immigration, you could talk about, racial injustice. You could talk about the homeless population that's so prevalent in San Diego. There are so many issues that we are going through as humans, and it's easy to get overwhelmed. So here's my one piece of advice, and it's this: pick one injustice that you want to just fully say, I'm going to own this. I'm going to help out in the ways that I can. I'm going to rally my friends around me to go help out. A quick story is that when I first got here, one of my friends who was actually in high school at the time was like, hey, let's make peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. So like 5 of us got together. We made like 150 peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Literally my hand was hurting after we were spreading it so much. And we put it together and we went downtown and we actually fed those who don't have a home right now. And that for her was her big issue that she was trying to solve, she was trying to tackle, and that was her injustice. And she rallied her friends around, including me, who honestly, we were so inspired because we got to help her do something good in the world. What if you picked one injustice and you did what you could to help?
So where do we start from here? I want to encourage you this week to start by doing this. There's 2 things here that can help us see injustices way better. And that first thing is we want you to pray. Ask God to give you wisdom by praying. What are the needs that are around me right now? What are the things that I need to see that your son Jesus would see if he was here with me? And by praying, we're believing that that's going to help with the injustices that are happening in our circles. Because if we're praying and starting to affect people like Jesus would in our own circles, man, we're going to start seeing people come to know Christ. We're going to see better communities around us. And the second thing is this: pick one. All right, what do we mean by that? All right, we're not going to be able to tackle every single injustice in this world. But if we can just decide to pick one thing, what is one need you see? Are you asking yourself the question, how can I help with injustice around me? It could be as simple as helping a family member who can't get groceries, being kinder to someone at your school. All right, if we're praying and we're asking God, what is the one thing I can do to change the injustice going around in my circles? We're going to start to see that God will use us just like he used Jesus to help the one.
I want you to think about this. What is one need or one injustice that's happening in the world around me? And what can you do to help? Right now, we are going to transition into the song Highs and Lows. And I know this past week with everything going on and election day, I know a lot of people and maybe a lot of you guys are feeling a lot of highs and lows just watching the news and being on social media. So I want you to reflect on this song and know that Jesus is going to be with you wherever you go.
When it feels like the dark lingers longer than the night, when the shadows feels like giants, are you chasing me down? Tell me, where could I run from your light? Where could I hide? And within your precious thoughts, there's no hiding from your love. Highs and lows, Lord, you're with me either way it goes. Should I rise or should I fall? Even so, Lord, your mercy is an even flow. You're too good to let me go. Should I dance on the heights or make my bed among the dead? Your mercy waits at every end, like you planned it from the start. Should the dawn come with wings or find me far side of the sea, there your your hand still fastens me ever closer to your heart. Oh, highs and lows, Lord, you're with me either way it goes. Should I rise or should I fall? Even so, Lord, your mercy is an even flow. Should I rise or should I fall? You were faithful through it all. You're too good to let me go. Surround me the way it goes. Should I rise or should I fall? Lord, you're with me through it all. Oh, highs and lows, in the rhythms of your grace I know. Should I rise or should I fall? You are faithful through it all. You're too good to let me go.
When you see an injustice, do what you can to help. We answer all these types of questions in other YouTube videos, which are going to be up here in just a second. But before I talk about that, I just want to say we do have our physical services that have actually moved, as you know, to Sundays at 3:30 p.m. So I really hope that you can join us for one of our physical services. They're awesome. We have a great time together. And until then, check out one of these amazing videos where we're answering these theological questions that you might have about God and about people and the world that we live.